So I just got back from seeing the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, the new A24 movie starring Michelle Yeoh. The movie stars Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn, who's dealing with a lot right now. She's not connecting well with her daughter, with her husband, with her father, even her finances. But things in her life change dramatically when she learns that she is the key to saving not just the world, but the entire multiverse. But in doing so, she's gonna have to tap into the abilities of alternate versions of herself, which means that not only she's gonna learn all these new abilities, but she's also gonna see what her life would have been like if she made different choices. I know Marvel fans like myself are still post-hype from Spider-Man No Way Home and pre-hype for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to see a non-Marvel movie that still deals with the concept of a multiverse. And with this movie being out there, plus getting a lot of good buzz, I figured I would check it out. I'm gonna try to express how I feel about this movie as spoiler-free as I possibly can, but the fact that I'm talking to you about a movie that's not a Marvel movie, a DC movie, a reboot, a remake, or animated, or based on my childhood, probably should give you a good sign of how I feel about it. A portion of this video is sponsored by Alienware. Alienware sent me a bunch of stuff. Let's check it out. It's the Alienware X14 gaming laptop. Oh my gosh, look at how sleek and how thin this is. So this is the thinnest laptop that Alienware has made, but it has the power of a gaming laptop. That's because it's powered with NVIDIA Deep Learning Super Sampling, which gives it a massive performance boost. And it supports RTX ray tracing for over 150 games and apps. Basically, I'm just saying it's very powerful. Voila. Ooh, it turned on. Ooh. That's the inside of it. Oh, look at that screen, that keyboard, 14 inches. Love this keyboard, love this screen, and it's got the highest battery for a 14-inch gaming laptop. This thing runs 11 hours of video playback. I can watch so many shows with that. All the Things That Are Strange, All the Night in the Moon. It's just crazy how powerful this can be being so small. I'm definitely gonna put Steam on this so I can play games, put Premiere and Photoshop on this so I can use this for editing my videos and thumbnails. Because with something this powerful and yet so thin, I can edit and game on the go. Alienware also sent me this backpack, a wireless gaming mouse, hello, and a gaming headset, and a gaming headset. Greetings, Earthling. Thanks, Alienware, for all these gifts. And if you're looking for a cool gaming laptop that's powerful but also thin, check out the X14. Link in the description. Thank you, Alienware, for sponsoring this video. So after walking out of this movie, I have to say that Everything Everywhere All at Once is probably legit one of my favorite movies this year. This movie is so freaking good. This movie is great. I loved it. What's really cool about this movie for me is that it's just a beautiful blend of ideas. There's been a lot of discussion and discourse, in my opinion, too much, just about like what type of movies we should be loving and experiencing and going to the theaters to see. You got people who are obviously hyped for the action, mainstream, superhero, fantasy, the popcorn munching type of movies. And then of course you have those people who are like, no, you should appreciate the deep, complex, very nuanced, indie, very strong, Oscar contending type of films. Say what, say what. And my feeling is, hey, whatever movie you like, you do you. But I think it's really cool that with this movie, they kind of mix all that together to make something very unique. If you like superhero movies, if you like movies with fantasy elements, this movie has that. If you like action movies, if you like martial arts movies, it's got that as well. It's got lots of special effects. It just has a lot of things that you would see in a mainstream franchise film. But at the same time, it's also telling this deep story about how we communicate with others, how we deal with ourselves. Should we regret the choices that we made or didn't make in the past? When things are tough, should we continue to fight on, or do we give up on everything? And this movie can definitely join in Kanto and Turning Red in the generational trauma trilogy. So all the deeper, complex themes that we hear talk about of those quality films of cinema, that is in this movie as well. But then the movie also has no problem being ridiculous and goofy and silly and sometimes even raunchy. It goes there. All I'm gonna say, hot dogs. It's not putting itself in any particular box. It is everything. It is everything. It is everywhere. It is all at once. It just knows it wants to tell a good story, and it also knows what will please and entertain audiences. Like, it's just wild how some things in this movie is like, yeah, that's real filmmaking right there. And there are other things in this movie that's like, that is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm loving it. And it all kind of works. It has a lot of surprises. Like, even when I kind of had a basic idea of what this movie was going to be about or how it was going to work, the movie still was able to throw some surprises in my face, and I loved it. Michelle Yeoh, of course, brings it. Not only do we get to see her, as usual, excel in action, but we also get reminded of how good she is with comedy, with drama, and she's even cool to be goofy. I love that she is silly in this sometimes. Makes for a nice, well-rounded character and a very great central figure in this entire story. Although her supporting cast cast is really helpful in this movie as well and has some great moments to shine. Jamie Lee Curtis is in this and she is awesome as always. She got that wig going. She's definitely playing a character that you know is Jamie Lee Curtis playing a character, but it still feels like the person you would actually meet in real life. I've seen people like that. Jenny Slate is in this. The legend James Hong is in this. He always working. And again, with every part, a surprise. That's especially the case with Stephanie Hsu, who plays Joy, Evelyn's daughter. Like, I thought I had her pegged down. I was like, okay, this is gonna be the young adult daughter that wants to go out on her own, conflicting with her mom, conflicting with family traditions, want to do her own thing. And I was like, I've seen this character before. I know how this goes. And this movie was like, you don't know nothing. You don't even know what we got planned for you with this character right here. It's going to blow your mind. And it did. So everyone is definitely bringing it. But of course, I gotta give my nostalgia props to Huy Quan, who is in this movie playing Wayman, Evelyn's husband. So if you're an 80s kid, you might remember Huy Quan because he was Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and he was my boy Data from Goonies. Like, Data would be a friend I would have hung out with if I was a kid. Yeah, if you get a chance, check out interviews with him. And when you hear his story, it's almost like, oh, I'm so happy for you. This is his first movie back in years, and he is back. He deals a lot with the multiverse as well. So you get to see him turn from sweet and funny and heartwarming to shy and scared to badass, just freaking kicking butt left and right. And there's even a couple of scenes where I was like, all right, Huy Quan, I see you with that sexy drip. He's all like, hey, look, I got a suit on. I'm checking you out. Like, yeah, I'm a man now. Go ahead, man. I feel you. Go. And it's really good that the cast is very strong in this because this is an insane movie. It's absurd. It's out there. Whenever you're dealing with multiverse, you know that all bets are off of how crazy it can get. So the fact that everyone in the cast is doing such a great job, it helps it out because that makes everything feel believable, even though it's unbelievable. And it also does this well visually. This movie is freaking gorgeous. Obviously, you get some cool special effects, stunning sequences with the multiverse, but even mundane things like laundromats or apartments or office buildings, they even do a good job in making that seem interesting. It's a lot visually. It might be even too much for some people. Like, it's gonna be a lot to take in on a first viewing. I definitely wanted to see it again just to catch some more of the nuances of what they do with this movie visually, but luckily it's a movie I would want to see again, so that's great. And when you hop into the different worlds, they're very interesting. Some of them are very like, oh, that's really cool. If she would have made this choice in her life, she could have been doing this instead. And some of them are just extreme and absurd and ridiculous. Particularly with one sequence, one of the multiverse worlds, oh my gosh. It's a joke that kind of builds, but by the time it really reveals itself, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Every single time it popped up on screen, I cracked up. If you see this movie, and you figure out exactly the scene that had me laughing with tears every single time, multiple times, then you know me, and I respect you for understanding what goes on in this brain. If I were to have one complaint about this movie, and it is a small one, even though it is the multiverse, thousands of worlds out there, we obviously have a few that we hit back to every now and then throughout the movie. There's definitely like a specific of like, these are the main multiverse worlds we're gonna check out. There'll be some other ones that will sprinkle in from time to time just to add a little variety or to have a nice joke every once in a while. But there's also these sequences where you'll just see Michelle Yeoh's face and you'll just see her constantly changing throughout the multiverse and you see all these different versions of her. And there were a couple times I was going through those and I was like, oh, I kind of want to see more of that one. Can we rewind and go back to that one, please? Just for a little bit longer. But like I said, that is a tiny nitpick. And luckily, all the worlds that we're looking at in this movie, they're all cool in some kind of way. And they all serve a purpose to the story or to the abilities that she has to learn in order to save the day, in order to save the world, in order to save the multiverse. Obviously, I absolutely love this movie, and I love that it was something different for me to watch. This doesn't fall too far off the tree of movies I usually watch. I mean, like I said, it has a multiverse story in it. It has a lot of action in it. The Russo brothers are part producers on this thing. Like, it's not that far removed, but it's still far enough where I felt like I was watching something a little bit different that gave me the vibe and energy that's definitely different from even some of my favorite franchise films as of late. And that's why I'm here singing its praises. I absolutely love this movie. For me personally, Everything Everywhere All at Once is definitely a movie to check out. It's a little different, definitely absurd, but also a little familiar if you're watching the types of movies like I've been watching. So expand your horizons, open up your eyes, even your googly eyes, and give it a shot.